Pelicans fans, it's time for us to have an open and honest discussion once and for all about Willie Green and his head coaching tenure with the Pelicans. A lot of people still believe that he is the right coach for the job, while another half of this fan base believes he's not and needs to be gone today. We're going to have an open and honest discussion about it right here on Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, everybody? It's your people, Melz On The MIC. Thank you once again for joining us on Pelicans Digest, and thank you so much for subscribing. And if you haven't done it yet, a majority of y'all still haven't. What are you waiting for, baby? This is one of the fastest growing Pelicans channels on YouTube. And because we give you the facts and we try to give it to you with no chaser too. So it's time for us in this episode, and I've been sitting on this for a while, and I've seen some of the comments over the last couple of days and some of the other videos that I've done for us to have a real live discussion about Willie Green and his tenure with the Pelicans, okay? And something that Scott Kushner and a whole lot of insiders are starting to ask about the Pelicans, and I think it's something that we need to discuss. He says it's not discussed enough how unbelievable it is that Willie Green is still the head coach of the Pelicans. And I brought this up in a discussion earlier in an earlier video about, I think Willie Green is on a very short leash here with the Pelicans going into this new season. And I think it's because he's not a part of the new framework of the management that they brought in. Normally, when you bring in a new president of operations and a new GM, they want their own head coach. But Willie Green is still the coach of the Pelicans for a variety of different reasons. But let's be honest here, because some of y'all saw some comments on the page a couple of videos ago saying, well, I don't want, if you guys are just going to bash Willie Green, then I don't want to hear about it, and I'm not going to subscribe. And you're not being realistic, and you're not being objective as a fan if you don't look at this man's record and his tenure and realize that there is some shortcomings with Willie Green. Now, two things real quick before I move on. Two things that have brought Willie Green a lot of grace with not only this fan base, but with this front office is the injuries. That's number one. But also some of the crazy moves David Griffin was doing throughout his tenure, because it seemed like every time we would get seemed like a good solid roster in place, David Griffin would turn around and try to go trade him off for one, like again, for an aging superstar, or just go trade him off for draft picks. And it was constant mismanagement by David Griffin and this roster. And the other thing that stands out to me about this time here is that Willie Green has a 148 and 180 record in his coaching career. Now, based on those stats alone, if you was to tell me that this guy should still be coaching after 4 or 5 seasons and only two playoff appearances, you would probably say, I can't get you to buy into that. I couldn't get you to buy into that if you was to tell me this is going to be the head coach. But there are a lot of shortcomings with Willie Green that we need to discuss. And one of them is clutch time, because let's not sit here in front. If you love Willie Green, you need to be realistic with yourself about this. We've seen how this coaching staff has moved when this team is in the clutch. Look, and the numbers don't lie. Green's offensive system relies too much on isolation scoring. This leads to too many stagnant possessions and low percentage shots, especially during crunch time. Over the past 3 years, the Pelicans have a 112 and 132 record when entering the fourth quarter while trailing, ranking 22nd in the NBA. 22nd in the NBA in clutch time. That's not optimal, man. And we have seen this. We've seen him with the crazy rotations. He'll put players in that are getting annihilated on the floor, and he will keep them in for some strange reason. There's also the fact that he would always favor older guys over the young talent. Now, you have a GM and a president that is stacking your roster up with young talent, but you insist on putting in Daniel Tice. Again, last season, I told you this about a game that I went to last year with the Pelicans. I had to sit down and watch Daniel Tice play most of the game while Yves Missi is on the bench. And we've seen this also with Jordan Hawkins. There's been games where we saw Jordan Hawkins starting to light up the scoreboard. Willie's going to go sit him down, though. Because there's a lot of issues here and there's some shortcomings with him. His stubbornness, I think, is the problem. And the other problem comes down to me, if you want to be honest, is the ownership. If we're going to be honest with you, ownership had to block Griffin from firing Green earlier this season. Gail Benson has this propensity with both of her franchises, with both the Saints and the Pelicans, to want to hire nice guys. Guys that won't challenge management. Because sometimes I don't even know if Willie Green even had any input in any of these roster decisions as compared to other teams. I don't even know if he really had it. It seems like he was the kind of coach that says, you pick the player and I'll just coach him up. But he also has the undying loyalship of Gayle Benson, because Gayle Benson has this allegiance to nice guys. And this is a league, ladies and gentlemen, where the psychopaths win. The coaches that are insane are the ones that win in this league. And I think the knock on Willie is, and I hate to say this, and it going to sound crazy, but I think he's just a nice guy. I think he's too nice of a guy. Yes, he can build rapport with the players and all the other stuff, but I think he's too nice. And this is a league where the murderers and the psychopaths win. The truly insane. They're the ones who win. And I don't see Willie having that same demeanor. He's too cool and calm for me, for my liking. Now, if you're a Willie Green fan, fortunately for you, you have this season to get it done. You have this season to get it done, because the cupboard is stacked up in full. But you also got to remember that this is the same team that gave this man an extension and did not announce it to the public. You got to remember this. 2 seasons ago, they gave Willie Green an extension and did not announce it, did not want to tell anybody that they signed Willie Green. Why is that? Why is that? Why would you not make some noise about your coach being rehired? This is going to be his make it or break it year, whether you like it or not. All right? Because a whole lot of y'all go get in these comments, man, Willie coached his ass off and dealt with all these injuries and all this stuff, and that's all fine and good, but you still got to get in there and do your job and coach these guys up. You have now stacked up this roster to go ahead and at least try to make a move and a jump and a leap forward from what you had last year in the Western Conference. And you have the ownership that has your back. But I will repeat this again. If Willie Green is not at a winning record in the first 20 games of this season, they are going to fire him. That's the reality of the situation. Because again, there's only two pieces on this team that are left on their last legs, and that is Zion Williamson and Willie Green. And I'll say this again: if Willie Green does not have this team ready to go within, because at the end of the day, the only reason why they kept Willie Green here is to honor that contract extension. That's the only reason why, because they gave him that contract extension last year, and this is going to be the final year. They did not give him an extension for a reason, because they're going to use this year to say, okay, if you're as good as you say, you improved the first 3 seasons you were here, you improved the win in each season. Now, I have given you everything that you could possibly need as far as in a lineup and stuff. It is up to you to coach it up and get it out there. And that's why I continue to say that James Borrego is the coach in waiting. Because, yes, I know he's getting talked to by the Knicks. I know that. But, as we probably seen in the recent reports, the Knicks are probably going to go in another direction. And I think that's why you kept James Borrego on deck, because James Borrego has a different offensive strategy. You can say what you want about his record with Charlotte. That was Charlotte's best seasons. And they were also a highly offensive and watchable team. That's why I think Borrego is going to be the one that you got to keep an eye on. But it's up to Willie Green to coach up this newly reconstructed roster. And I think he has to get off that stubbornness of not wanting to play the young guys. Play these young guys, man. Because at the end of the day, if you want to keep this job and if you want to still build up something for it, but to be honest with you, I think he's toast no matter what happens. I think if you want me to be real honest with you, I think Willie Green is toast no matter what happens. This outside of a championship, outside of an NBA championship, Willie Green is toast with this team this season. And again, I don't think this roster as it's currently constructed will win a championship this season. I don't think it's going to, but I do think this team has the ability to at least get out of the play-in status and get into the playoffs as it's currently constructed. It's up to Willie Green to coach him up and give the right lineups, the right situations, and also work on his clutch time play calling. Because again, the Pelicans are at the bottom of the list in clutch time minutes and also clutch time plays. Far too many games last season and in the last 2 years, we've seen C.J. McCollum try to play hero ball. That's because of Willie Green's ISO ball situation. We saw too many with Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram was dog-tired in the playoffs. But yet Willie kept saying, ISO ball on Brandon Ingram. ISO ball on Brandon Ingram. When he was in the playoffs with the Pels that 1 year. The year before last, should I say. So, again, This is the issue. We've seen this too many times. If you have to be an objective Pels fan. I know you are still clinging on to the, you got to fight. You got to fight. I know you're still clinging on to that era, but that era is long gone. It's long gone. And I think the reason why we have fallen out of patience with Willie Green is because we've seen some of his shortcomings in real time. If you watch these games, you've seen some of his shortcomings in real time as far as from a coaching aspect. Again, nice guy. Nice guy. But this is a league where the truly criminally insane win. The coaches that are criminally insane win. That want to win at all costs. You have, I don't know much more we could do about this, but I think Willie Green's days are numbered with this team. But this can't be the year. If you love Willie Green, this could be the year that saves him. That saves him and maybe buys him another year. But I think no matter what happens, there's going to be a coaching change with this team at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this season, but I do think this is going to be Willie Green's last season because, again, they have not offered this man a contract extension. They wanted to fire him last year. But, again, Gail Benson and her loyalty to these nice guys. All you got to do is be nice. It seems like you just got to be nice to Gail Benson and you got the job. Just be a nice, good character guy. But you seen how's that worked out for the Saints? You lose the psychopath in Sean Payton, and then you go get Dennis Allen, and that whole thing falls apart. I think with Willie Green, again, I think Willie Green has been too much of a yes man. I don't know if he's had too much of a say in what this roster is supposed to look like or get it around how he wants it to be. But one thing is for sure, though, that it's time. I think it's time to move off of Willie Green. But he's got this season to make a change and change all of our minds. So if you're a Willie Green fan and you love him, you better hope and pray that he starts making some changes as far as in his approach, as far as his coaching approach. Is going into next season. Wanting to play more of these younger guys that have now refilled your roster. Yeah, refilled the roster with all these young guys. Jordan Hawkins, give that man some more time. Like, get off of this whole nonsense of I'd rather put the veterans in over the young guys. I know he said something about Kelly Olynyk last year that drove me crazy. He said something about, we just got to get the ball in Kelly Olynyk's hands and unlock him. A 33-year-old backup center you're going to try to unlock. These are the kind of things that we have. These are the kind of shortcomings that you have to take into consideration with Willie Green. But again, and I'm going to wrap it up on this. He has this season to try to prove us all wrong. The question is, can he do it? What are your thoughts on it? Clap back with your thoughts on it. Is Willie Green going to be the right guy to lead this newly constructed roster into the new season? Or do you think that's a wrap regardless? Do you think he can't do it and we're going to be falling back down again? What are your thoughts on it? Clap back with your thoughts in the comments on the Willie Green situation and what you think of him. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, baby, because we really do appreciate you subscribing over here to one of the fastest growing Pelicans podcasts out here on these internets. It's Pelicans Digest, baby. I appreciate you for tuning in. It's Melz talking about them Pels. I'll holler at you soon.